Yo, so in this video I'm going to be discussing the top loadouts that I like to personally use. It doesn't mean that they're the best statistically wise, but I'm pretty sure they are anyways. They're pretty up there at the moment with the current meta. The current meta, I'm actually really liking it because it's actually quite balanced. Well, I wouldn't say balanced, but there's a lot of there's a mixture of MW Cold War Vanguard guns, which I actually really like, because for the longest while it was mostly just Vanguard guns. So I'm going to be going through 4 ARs I like to use, 4 SMGs, and then 2 snipers, as well as some extra classes that I have. So we'll start off with the ARs. So first on the AR list is the Grau. I've been really liking this gun. It's easy to use, it kills fast, well, not too fast, but you know, on the most used guns at the moment. But this is the loadout for it, so you want a monolithic suppressor, Tempest Archangel barrel, a VLK optic, or you can choose to use no optic and maybe chuck a rear grip on. Commando foregrip and 60 round mags. If you're not using the optic, I'd use probably the Cronin Sniper Elite or the XRK Void. Depends on your playstyle really, but yeah, so this is the loadout for the Grau. I really like this gun. I have the reticle as normal, but if you want you can change it to something you like. So yeah, that's the Grau. Next on my list for the ARs, I have the XM4. This recently came back up into the meta. I actually really like the way mine looks. It looks pretty sick. But so the loadout for this one is the Agency Suppressor, 13.5 inch Task Force barrel, Axle Arms optic, Field Agent grip, and the 60 round mags. You could use a 45 round mags if you want to have a bit more movement, maybe on Rebirth. You could chuck the 45 on. But this is a Caldera build here. And yeah, I really like this gun. It's still fries. It's a bit harder to control, but not that much harder. But yeah, I got that as my second one. Third AR I like to use is the Automaton. This was like the best AR like a week or so ago, but then the update, you know, it changed quite a bit, but it's still pretty good. So you want to check the MX silencer on it, the ZAC 600mm barrel, the SVT 40 scope, the 3 to 6 times, the Anastasia padded stock. I chuck a bipod on it, but if you don't want to use a bipod, use the hand stop. I like the bipod because when you crouch it gives you a bit more recoil control, which is pretty good for Caldera. So if you're using this in Caldera, I'd use the bipod. If you're using it in Rebirth, probably the hand stop. Then I have the Sakura 75 round drum mag, the lengthened ammunition, polymer grip, tight grip, fully loaded. And this gun's pretty nice. I like using it. Again, it's a satisfying gun to use, and it kills fairly quickly. For the last AR that I like to use is the Cooper Carbine. However, I don't usually use this on Caldera. This is usually a gun I use in Rebirth or Fortune's Keep, you know, the small maps. It is good. I like the way it feels. I like using it. So for this build is the MX silencer, 22 inch Cooper custom barrel, the 3 to 6 times optic or whatever optic you prefer, the Cooper stock, the 45 RS, hand stop underbarrel, 60 round drum mags, lengthened polymer grip, tight grip, fully loaded. Yeah, and this gun I like to use, but I usually only use it on Rebirth again. I'd rather use like the XM4 or the Grau on Caldera. Okay, so on to the SMGs. So my favorite SMG at the moment is the Arma. I'm really liking this gun. So for this build, I got the recoil booster, the 570mm precision barrel, slate reflector, skeletal stock, the SG98 compact, but you can also use the skeletal. I usually use the compact for Rebirth, no, Caldera, and then the skeletal for Rebirth. I'm pretty sure that's what I use anyway. Oh no, it's the other way around. Anyways, they're both pretty viable. Whatever you feel works better. I feel like I like the feeling of this one more, but they're still both good. 55 round mags, lengthened, taped grip, hard scope and quick. So hard scope, you want to use hard scope on Caldera and then steady on Rebirth. I found is the best. The second SMG that I like to use is the MP40. It did take a dip quite a bit recently, but it's now back up top. It's pretty good to use now again. So I got the recoil booster, the 189mm short barrel, slate reflector, Krosnick folding stock, M19 hand stop, 45 Gorenko rounds, lengthened, taped, brace, quick. This is a nice gun to use again. All the top SMGs are Vanguard SMGs. So yeah, I don't have any Cold War NW SMGs on here because they just don't. They're still viable, but they just can't compete with like the Arma and the MP40, you know, and the Marco. My third SMG, the Marco. So again, pretty standard recoil booster. The third barrel, Emirito, 342mm barrel. The slate reflector, Emirito FR stock, skeletal underbarrel, 64 round mags, length and taped, momentum quick. This is again a good gun to use. People either prefer the Marco or the Blixen. I prefer the Marco. I just find it easier to use and I like the way it fires. I don't really like the way the Blixen fires, but it's all preference. For my fourth SMG, I have the PPSH. Now, before this recent update, this was like Top Gun, like the hipfire build. This build absolutely was slapping. It was a bit too good. So it has been nerfed a bit, but I still find it fun to use, and it's still like, you know, kills fairly quickly. It's just a bit harder to hit your shots with the hipfire at longer ranges. Up close, it still like dominates though. So you got the recoil booster, 230mm barrel, slate reflector, remove stock, carver foregrip, 64 round mags, Nambu, hollow point, pincer, tight grip, quick. This is still a fun gun to use. It's not top like broken anymore, but it's still a good gun. So that was the SMGs. So now there's only two snipers I like to use at the moment. So that being first is the 3-line. The 3-line I like to use only in Caldera really. You can use it on Rebirth and that, but I don't usually. But you got the Mercury silencer, Empress barrel. You can use the 1913 optic. I find the stock sniper scope to just be a bit too big, like too zoomed in, so this optic kind of makes up for that. And then the Zach custom stock, M19 strife angled underbarrel. This is the best one I have because I actually don't have it fully leveled. But there is another underbarrel that you can use. I can't quite remember what it was. I think it was the M19 hand stop. If you have the M19 hand stop, put that on. If you don't, this is another good one. It's the same with the mags. I don't have it. You want to put the third round mags on, but if you don't have that, again, put the first one on and that should be all good. Lengthened leather grip, silent focus on hand. So now for the second sniper I like to use, it's the Kar98. So this is my Caldera build. You know, so general setup has always been monolithic Singer 27-inch barrel, tack laser, sniper scope, stippled grip tape, or you can swap the stippled for the sport cone stock. It's up to you. So this is my Caldera build. I like to use this build for Caldera. It's very good. As for the Rebirth version of the car, I take the monolithic off. I keep the barrel, tack laser, sniper scope. I have the stock on, the sport cone stock, instead of the red grip, but again, that's up to you. And then I have sleight of hand on. This is generally good for like the smaller maps. I find that you don't really need the damage range from the monolithic suppressor. You can if you want, but I like the increased speed that this build has, and you'll find yourself dominating pretty well with this on the small maps. So those are all the top guns. You know, I got my top 4 ARs, Grau XM4 Auto, Cooper Carbine, top 4 SMGs, the Arma MP40, Marco PPSH, and my top 2 snipers, or top 3, the 3-line Rebirth car and Caldera car. Those are my loadouts. So what I usually like to pair them with, so I usually like to pair the Grau and the Arma, the XM4 and the MP40, the Auto and the Marco, 3-line and Arma, Cooper, Carbine and PPSH, Rebirth car and Arma, Caldera car and Arma. I really like the Armaguerra. It's a really good SMG at the moment. Like, it's easy to use, fun to use. That's why I have it on quite a few of my classes here. And now for the special classes, I like to leave 3 just for like some essentials. So I've got a ghost class, a melee class, and a fully loaded class. So in my ghost class, I usually put my favorite SMG at the time in here. So at the moment, that's Armaguerra, and I also run it with a Diamatti. You could swap this out for AR if you wanted to, which is completely fine. So any AR SMG, you could even put a sniper in here. It's up to you. But the Diamatti build I use, agency suppressor, task force barrel, 5mm laser sight, 30 round fast mag, and dual wield. This thing bonkers crazy slapping. And then quick fix ghost and throwing knife stim. I'm pretty sure I run all these on all my classes. And then my melee class, you know, for the sticks and stones mode, or if you want to be like annoying and run around with a riot shield, I usually don't use this, but whenever I do, riot shield, MW riot shield, you don't want to use the Vanguard riot shield. That shit's ass, you can't see out of it that well. Katana, double time restock amped, thermite and stun grenades. This is a cancer class. You will piss people off with that one. And then I like to have a fully loaded just in case I'm in a situation where I don't have much ammo. I use whatever my favorite guns are at that point. So I got the Grau without the sight, so I swapped it out for fully loaded. Or you could swap out any of these attachments for fully loaded. And the Arma Guerra, where I just swapped out perk 2 for fully loaded. And you know, quick fix overkill, amped, throwing knife, stim. And yeah, so these are the classes I like to use. My favorite one at the moment is probably the Grau and the Arma Guerra, and for Rebirth it's probably the Cooper and PPSH. Yeah, so these are my top guns. Obviously, like the meta's always changing, so these, you know, maybe in a week's time these might not even be any good, you know. A PPSH might get a bigger nerf, etc. But yeah, so those are my top loadouts. I hope you guys liked it. Maybe you found some new guns that you never thought you'd use again or before, and you know, go try these out. Let me know how they perform, and you could mix and match these. You could use the Grau DP40. There's no strict formula. This is just what I like to pair them up with. Yeah, so thanks for watching anyways, and peace. Have a good day.